Hello, and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News Channel. Today we're going to analyze Bitso and possibly XRapid volume because, we know that Bitso is the Mexican corridor, US-Mexican corridor, kind of like specialized XRapid partner. There's coins.ph as well, but honestly, they don't really have public volume, so I can't really judge coins.ph. But we're going to look at like Bitso's XRP/MXN corridor, and I'm going to also look at the ranking on Bitso's XRP volume in relation to other exchanges, and then we're gonna try to deduct some kind of conclusion. I know there is some software out, not software, but there's a tracker somewhere which actually tracks Bitstamp's buys of XRP sent directly to Bitso, and that's a pretty good tracker. But from that tracker, I've also seen a day where basically the supposedly XRapid volume kind of outpaced the entire volume of the entire day on Bitso, which is unlikely because Bitso does have other volume outside of XRapid, and most of its volume is actually speculative because it did have several $100,000 worth of volume before XRapid actually activated. So we're just going to look at pure Bitso volume from week to week or month to month, and then look at its ranking comparative to the other exchanges. And I do remember what the ranking was in terms of like what position Bitso's been at. So let's look at the XRP MXN volume on Bitso right now. So when they actually said they activated XRP X-rapid at the end of July, like mid-end of July, around here. And as you can see, the volume at this end, which represents basically after the activation of XRapid, average-wise, it's actually more of a stable average volume. Besides the weekends, obviously, it's more of a stable average volume. Whereas before here, we had these big lumps, and there was some volume, but I think the steady average volume is a little bit greater than what we have here. Obviously, this could just be due to the market and other things. And if we stretch out the timeline here, all the way out to the beginning of 2018, you can see that our volume here is still much less than the volume during the bull run, and is about the same as the volume during basically April, May-ish 2018. Still less than September 2018 when we had that XRapid launch announcement, and it doesn't really measure up to these big bars like May 13th or even like May 13th. So it doesn't quite equal the volume of these big launch days, and definitely not during big bull runs. It does kind of equal the volume of when we were coming down and having a little bit of a retrieval early 2018. But you can see that there, compared to the last few months, besides the big bars, there is more steady volume coming out of Bitso. So that actually does give some indication. That does actually give some indication that there is some XRapid volume at work because of the steady volume. If you look at just 2019, obviously the volume is the lowest at the beginning of 2019, but it was already increasing some. It was already somewhat increasing towards May, June, and then it might just be a regular pattern. But because the volume is more consistent, I do believe there is some XRP X-rapid use in there. So we can see some signs of it appearing. It's not all that apparent. And if you look at Galgatron's graphs, you can tell that like the number of payments really hasn't gone up that much that he's published lately. However, we also have to look at how does Bitso XRP MXN volume compare to other exchanges. And it really hasn't moved up since they actually turned on, or they said they turned on XRapid. It's at 100 position right now at $788,000 per day. Now that is a little higher than what it was, a month or two ago. But the thing is, the rest of these exchanges on XRP volume have also gone up over the last couple of weeks, and the relative position of Bitso in relation to the other exchanges on XRP has not really changed. It's always fluctuated somewhere between like 75 and 120. And it really hasn't broken out of that range. So comparatively to the other exchanges, it's in the same position. It's actually slightly lower than where it was when they first turned it on. So in terms of like the corridor that they're using for specialized XRP transactions is actually slightly less than compared to the rest of the market. What that tells me is a lot of the smaller markets in terms of XRP trading are moving up slightly, and Bitso's kind of followed suit. However, because of Bitso's more stable volume here, I do believe there is some XRP action. Now, I do believe that the volume of XRP probably would have risen anyways, even without the XRapid turn on. As you can see, like it was crap at the beginning of the year, and then slowly, even like in May, before the announcement was made, before they turned XRapid on or signed the deal, it was already increasing. So I think it would have naturally increased, but it wouldn't be so steady as it is now. So I suspect there's probably 30, 40, maybe 50, 30 or $40,000 maybe worth of XRapid transactions coming in a day, and that's a couple of 100,000 XRP per day. I think these groups are basically weeks. Yes, each of these bars is a week, so they're probably looking at maybe like 300,000 XRP, or not even, maybe like 200,000 XRP per day coming in terms of XRapid volume, and that's the volume we're actually seeing off XRapid right now, based on the fact that the Bitso volume of XRP MSN really hasn't changed in the time since they turned the faucet on. I really haven't seen Galgatron's chart, the numbers on Galgatron's basically charts that he releases every once in a while. I haven't really seen an increase in that since they turned it on. And this volume seems like it's increasing, but it was increasing throughout the entire year. But like I said, the consistency of the volume since XRapid has been turned on means that there is some flow in between it. For me, it's probably 1 to 200,000 a day at the most, and I would think that it's probably something like 30, 40,000, 20 to 40,000 per day in terms of dollar value. That's not very much, but it's a decent start, because they're not going to start with large. They're actually not going to start with large transactions. Plus, if you really look at MoneyGram does about 40 billion a year. And we're talking about 2 corridors only in MoneyGram. Now, they're 2 of the most used corridors, but even if all of MoneyGram's volume was going through XRapid, it'd be about it would be maybe $100 million a day. Obviously, we're not nowhere near that yet, and not all the corridors are going to use XRapid. But right now, at the start, we're seeing maybe like $20,000 to $40,000 a day using XRapid. At least in my opinion, that's how much we're seeing. Now, Garlinghouse did say about $1 billion at the end of 2020. Now, $1 billion, if you just take in the context of 2019, that's about $3 million a day for that year to equal $1 billion. Considering that we're at about 30,000 right now, that means that over the course of 2020, we need to process about 100x more than we're processing right now through XRapid. So while $1 billion total for 2020 may not seem like that much, that is still very much big, substantial growth for XRapid through the end of 2020. Will that affect prices? No, it won't affect prices. $1 billion total for 2020 is not going to affect prices at all. It's nothing. But that just shows that the volume is slowly building up, and it actually will start to take effect. Probably like maybe in prices, maybe in like 2021, 2022, 2023. So we're going to have to wait a while for any kind of real price appreciation based on utilization, but it's coming sooner. It's going to come in a couple of years, and you still have FOMO to depend on in the meantime. So that's my analysis of XRapid, XRP, Bitso volume on the Mexican corridor. I can't really do the Filipino corridor, but from what I've seen on some of the numbers, it doesn't seem like that corridor is actually doing all that much right now on coins.ph. Not enough to affect prices anyways, but that's the analysis on the Mexican corridor. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you, and have a nice day.